Without any further ado, I'd like to invite Cath James to come up first. Cath's talk is entitled Good Grief. She's going to give us a personal perspective on the experience of handling the sudden loss of an organisation's CEO. So Cath's the Artistic Director of South East Dance. So over to you, Cath. Thank you.
Thanks, Emma. Am I on? Yes, I am. Great. Good afternoon. Delighted to be here, and thank you to the CLAW leadership for inviting me to share my experience. So a lightning talk. This is my first one, first time I've heard of it. The brief suggested being vibrant and dynamic and 8 minutes long, and that humour is helpful, so be funny. Well, it's not 8 minutes, and it's not funny. So, as Emma said, I'm Cath James, and I'm Artistic Director of South East Dance, which is an arts charity based in Brighton. We're an Arts Council England national portfolio organisation and support the development of dance across the South East region, which is a rather large area. Our major project at the moment, and the main thing that keeps me awake at night, apart from the B word, is the construction of a new dance house in Brighton, the Dance Space. This project has been in development for the past 10 years, and we expect to take delivery of this new building next year. Our former CEO, Jamie Watton, was the driving force behind this development, and he drove it for 10 years. 18 months ago, Jamie passed away suddenly, and for me, shockingly. His death had a huge impact on our small team. We were, and still are, a tight-knit group, a family, if you like. We work closely together and are all passionate about what we do. So Jamie's suddenly passing was a major blow to each and every single member of the team. You've probably guessed now the real topic here, the importance of succession planning and how to cope and survive with the sudden loss of a key staff member. We all knew Jamie was unwell, well, we the team, and had taken an extended leave of absence for treatment. When he told us about his illness, we drew up action plans together, and following consultation with and the approval of our board, we drafted a return to work programme that mapped out every detail so that our team knew and understood what we would be doing to support them over this period. We also wanted to reassure the team that in Jamie's absence, the organisation would keep on track to deliver on its targets, and especially on that dance space. So in my capacity at the time as Programme Director and a member of the senior leadership team, I was made Acting Artistic Director and Joint CEO with our then Artistic Executive Director. And the plan included us both having members of our board as mentors during this extended period of leave. Our chair checked in with us regularly each month to ensure we had the support we needed. And with the executive director, again with board support, we planned for a number of possible scenarios. The need for perhaps a longer recovery period, perhaps Jamie's desire to return part-time for a while in the initial recovery period, or even the wish perhaps not to return at all. We had frank conversations between the executive director and myself about the possibility that Jamie might not survive. But given his resilience and the fact that he'd had a good prognosis from the doctors meant we felt positive that he would return to us at some point. There was no way he would miss the dance space opening. So in June last year, I met up with Jamie in London during his recovery period. He'd asked for his laptop back. He wanted to check in with where the dance space was and how everything was developing in the organisation. A mere 2 weeks later, his partner called me to say that his condition had deteriorated quite suddenly and that he had died. This was not the expected outcome at all. He'd been recovering so well. Suddenly we had to reconsider everything. This was not the plan, but first things first, and most importantly, we had to think about how to tell the team. So everyone passes grief in their own way, but nevertheless, we wanted a collective moment together to tell everyone this news, preferably all together. But as a lot of our team are part-time or freelance, this was going to be difficult. So for those part-time workers who were not in the office that day when we called the meeting, we rang each one individually to let them know. I thought it was really important to allow the team to process the news on their own terms. So some wanted to keep working, head down, get on with it. Others wanted to go for a walk and take some air. Others wanted to walk together. And a lot of people just wanted to sit together and talk about the impact that Jamie had had on their lives. So as the funeral was private, just the executive director and I went, but we felt it important that the team and many of the artists and former colleagues with whom Jamie had worked on over his long career in dance were able to gather together and collectively celebrate his life and reflect on the impact that Jamie had had on all of us. We had held a memorial for him last October and then launched a fund in Jamie's memory, supporting his two favourite courses, young emerging dance talent and, of course, the dance space, and which to date has raised over £17,000 towards the dance space. He would be delighted. Over the next few months, the senior management team ensured they had a stronger physical presence in the office, so we were there more regularly, as we were all working towards getting the dance space built, and the deadlines for decision-making were coming thick and fast. We needed to continue to work and to continue to support the team to do the work. We talked to the team about the dance space being Jamie's vision and now his legacy, and it would be for us to make a success of this project. I think this really motivated the team to feel that they were helping to deliver his vision. Maybe motivated is the wrong word. It's more a way for them to channel their feelings into something that Jamie really wanted to make happen. The most important thing I think we did as a senior management team was to give the team and the artists space to allow them all to find the right way for them to express their grief and to be there to listen and support them. We set up a book of remembrance, not just for the team to contribute to, but for everyone and anyone who felt they wanted to write something down or share a photo or a memory. This is a very personal perspective on the events of the last year, but for me the major takeaways are these. It's the board's responsibility to think about succession planning and not just the resignation or retirement of your key people, but the very real prospect now of losing them suddenly. You must also ensure that your executive team is involved in this planning to come up with how your organisation wants to deal with this loss, including practical things like what's your tolerance level for extended sick leave? Can your organisation afford this, and for how long? Is it at the discretion of the board? Should it be part of your employment policy? Who will step up and take on that leadership role whilst your key staff member is away or gone? How will you as a board support the other senior team members during the transition and support the wider team during this period? What processes do you need in place to ensure that the team can continue to thrive within the organisation whilst dealing with the loss of a leader? What are the options to replace that lost staff member? Do you want to restructure the organisation? Do you want to bring in someone external, or do you want someone internal to your organisation and then be best placed to continue to support the organisation through their knowledge of the organisation and the team members? When do you let your stakeholders know the situation, and what level of detail do they need? In the event of a serious illness or a death, you will need to respect the wishes of the family as to what is said publicly, as well as any wishes expressed by the person who's passed away or left suddenly. All these questions need due consideration and enormous thoughtfulness. And could I suggest that this is done as soon as possible, rather than having to draw up plans or guidelines in response to a situation that arises, as we did. Not to put too fine a point on it, it's much harder to make these sorts of decisions when you know the person you are discussing is lying in a hospital bed. 1 year on from Jamie's memorial, the dance space is up, not quite finished, but the roof is on. It's well on its way, and we will and must ensure that Jamie is remembered and present in the building. I'll leave you with this. Succession planning might not be every board's favourite agenda item. It could provoke a real sense or reveal a sense of insecurity in the executive. And anecdotally, since this situation has happened, many colleagues have come and said to me that some of their CEOs are shying away from succession planning altogether. But I think any executive team worth their salt will know it's an absolutely necessary one. And saying that, you can succession plan for all you're worth and then still not be prepared for the shock of a sudden loss. Thank you for your attention.